Good evening, Timmy talkers. Hello, Molly. Now you can have it early today, can't you? Didn't believe me yesterday, did you? Here I am. Now we all worry, or wonder rather, about the possibility of life after death. I'm not a dramatic person, but if my cold gets any worse, I shall find out before all of you, and I'll come back, let you know. Anyway, today's story is not from a book. Today's story is one that I was actually told by an elderly gentleman who was very credible. He was a professional chap, and he felt almost embarrassed about the entire event. In the early 90s, him and his family had to move down to New Romney, down on the marsh, and he'd come down to look after his mum because she hadn't been well. So he moved up from Sidcup and moved down to the marsh. He had to rent a house quickly, and he only needed one with 3 bedrooms. The only one he could find was on Hythe Road in Dymchurch. I won't say the number because it's still there, and I have been past it, and it does still creep me out when I see it, only because I know the story. And there is somebody living there now, so I don't want anyone going around there taking photos of the house. But he said it was unusual because when he went to view it at the estate agent, she wouldn't go in. She said, no, I'll never go into this house. I'll just stay outside. He said, well, you're not going to show me around then? She went, no, I'll just stay out here. So he went around and had a look. It was like a bungalow cottage, one of the first ones built down on the marsh. And so it was perfectly acceptable. It was the only one he could find in his budget that fitted his family. So he moved in, and he noticed immediately, he said that one of the rooms was always really cold. And he put it down to it being an old house with a single skin of bricks. But he said that room became the lounge. And he said he was sitting there watching the television with his wife one day, and he heard the front door open, some feet, a slam of the door, and then something being dragged through the hallway passage out to his back garden. The door, he said, the door was very, very heavy. Although it was a drafty house, it was impossible to just blow open and close. And him and his wife heard it a number of times. They just put it down to a quirky nature of the house. And then things started to take a turn for the more sinister. He had some plumbing work done, and a plumber came round. And the plumber went round, he said, I will do the job. I'm not going to say why you need to stay with me, but I do not want you to be outside of the room I'm in. You must be stood with me all of the time, and I will not go up into the loft. So again, he's as I say, he's a perfectly sensible chap, and he thought it was all a bit odd. But he put it down to nothing else than just an odd feeling in the house. He said he heard the doors opening and closing more frequently, and the steps become more frantic. And he said it sounded like something was being dragged all of the time, like a metal squeaky thing, like an old sign on a pub. He said you could hear it a lot. And then one day he was in the hallway, and an apparition appeared in front of him. He said it wasn't like something he caught out the corner of his eye, he just stood there. The chap appeared, but you couldn't see his face. His face was blurred, but he was wearing a bowler hat and a 3-piece suit. And he said he was stood there looking at him for about 5 seconds. And then he disappeared. And then another time he was laying in his bed, and he felt the bed go down, and like somebody had got in it. So he just presumed it was his wife. And he rolled over, and he said there laying on the pillow was the face of an elderly lady staring at him. And he just screamed and went to punch it. He said, and it just disappeared. She would appear quite a lot, apparently. She always looked quite angry, he said. His children, after a number of years, when they moved out, they said they would never come back to the house. And when they went to bed, they would never get out of bed. They would always go under the covers, but they would never say who or what it was that disturbed them. When they eventually moved out, he was offered to buy the house. And they offered him a discount of 30%, which he refused because his family were too terrified. The dog would never come in the house, or if it did, it would never go past the kitchen, and it would just whine if it tried to be dragged through the rest of the house. And he was offered a 30% discount, which he turned down. Then he he knew the person who was renting it after him. She loved it. She's still there, I think. And she thought it was a nice, relaxing house. Her children, who were in their 20s, would never, ever come inside the house. They just stood on the front doorstep when they went down to see Mum. They'd take her out for lunch, take her out for tea, but they would never, ever go in the house. The annoying thing is, it'd be nice if everyone said what they saw, wouldn't it? But just creepy goings on. He saw lamps, like the old-fashioned swinging lamps, around the garden. He's found an old picture of the house where it really was the only one in all of the fields. There was a number of wells around it where they used to get their water from. And he said the lamp used to seem to go around where the wells were. One time he was laying in his bath and the tiles started to come off the wall one by one. Could be terrible adhesive, couldn't it? But with all of the things, he looked absolutely embarrassed and terrified to tell me. He was in his 80s and he said it still reminds him if it was yesterday. And I've spoken to him again since, and he said although he doesn't believe in ghosts, his exact words were, "I do not know what the fuck went on in that house." Now, I've driven past the house, I know the number, as I say. And I don't know if it's because you know what's there, but it's a very creepy looking house. Anyway, Timmy Talkers, join me tomorrow, God willing. TikTok things at the top. Today's song is by, who else could it be for Halloween? It's Ghost and Year Zero. So I'll see you tomorrow, fingers crossed, and have a good evening. Ta-da.